So what is going on with streaming services? As a person with almost no views, I feel that I am uniquely qualified about why streaming services are failing or why they are not growing as much. We'll see. The first story is about Netflix. Netflix lose they just lost subscribers for the first time in over a decade. The company admits it's getting harder to grow, but password sharing is partially to blame. So they lost about 200,000 subscribers in this quarter. This is the first quarter, that's January, February, March of 2022. And they also estimated that they could lose up to 2 million subscribers in the second quarter. Yikes. So before that, the thing that no one is talking about is that due to Russia-Ukraine war and the sanctions, Netflix lost about 700,000 subscribers. So it's not just 200,000, it's 900,000 already in the first quarter. That's almost a million subscribers they've lost. And they estimate that they could lose 2 million more. So the target was to get 2.5 million new subscribers, but they have already lost almost 1 million subscribers. And they have something like 200 million subscribers. 222 million subscribers they have. And so what could be the reason? First, they increased price in several markets, and mainly United States. And price hikes, they're never good, but they're worse when you have a lot more competition. See, I'm generally a free market capitalist. I like free market, except in this streaming case. In the case of streaming, I like the fact that Netflix had a monopoly before. You could just get Netflix, and maybe you have Amazon Prime Video because of Amazon Prime. That's pretty much it. Now you have to get Disney Plus. Now you have to get HBO Max. Now you have to get Apple TV Plus, Paramount Plus, depending on what content you want to watch. There's so many streaming services. Maybe free market is not a good idea here. So they're facing a lot of competition. And the thing about Netflix is that Netflix originals, they are just like hot and trendy, and they just disappear over time. Whereas Disney's content library is massive. If you have a kid in your house, you have Disney, most likely, depending on how rich you are, what issues you have in your country, etc. But generally speaking, if you have a kid in your house, you have Disney Plus. If you have a teenager or a young adult, a person in 20s, you most likely have Disney Plus because of Marvel, because of Disney Pixar, because of all the Disney princesses and Star Wars. The point is you have Disney Plus. And same thing with HBO Max. You're watching HBO shows, you're watching DC movies, maybe, somewhat, and you're watching all this. You're watching cartoons and all that. So you have HBO, Amazon Prime. You don't go after Amazon Prime Video. You just get Amazon Prime, and Prime Video comes for free. You can watch movies, you can watch some original shows. So all these competitors, they have diverse streams of revenue. They can afford to lose money. Same thing for Apple TV Plus. You think that they are profitable? Probably not. but Apple overall is profitable. Netflix business model is basically the streaming, and that's what decides the stock price of Netflix. Whereas Disney is merchandising and all the movie tickets and a lot Disney parks and all that. And because of competition, Netflix has to have original content, not just original content, but established IPs. Netflix, they don't seem to have that. Let me put it this way. Take Netflix originals like House of Cards, Breaking Bad, Stranger Things, and what else? Like all these many Netflix originals. They come, they become massive hits, and they go away. Whereas Disney's IP and HBO's IP, the brand established, the established brands, the IP stays, and they can continue to make a lot more money. So Netflix is like, if we had to have a graph for Netflix shows, it's just spiking continuously up and down, because how trending these shows are. They get trending, and they just go away after a few seasons. Netflix just cancels the shows in just 2 or 3 seasons, whereas something like Game of Thrones, for example, ended up in bad. Like eight season was terrible. I haven't watched any of that, but they had 8 seasons. How many Netflix shows have 8 seasons? They invested in anime, but have you heard of Netflix original animes compared to, I don't know, anything else? No. So they don't have IPs. They have originals that go trending and they go up and down. And same thing with how they release the shows. So they release one season entirely, whereas other streaming services, they're releasing 1 or 2 or 3 episodes per week. Netflix is just one season and just disappears for few months. It's, again, the graph makes it clear, up and down, whereas others are a lot more consistent. They're more up and down, of course, but Netflix is just up and down in terms of their original shows. Not just hype, not just like cultural influence. They're just trending and they go away. So what Netflix is saying is that passwords are the problem, because people share passwords, and that's the problem. They're going to crack down on passwords, and maybe it's a good idea, maybe it's not. I don't think that is. Netflix now estimates that as many as 100 million households are using service via shared passwords. It's harder to grow membership in many markets as a result of the situation, Netflix said. This is from The Verge. I have to give credit to them. Password sharing might be the problem, and some people will subscribe if they cannot watch using other people's accounts. But a lot of people, they'll just cancel it. They'll stop watching Netflix. And they have also discussed plans about cheaper ad-supported tier. This is something that many companies are doing. Disney Plus is also considering it, lower cost ad-supported tier. If you're going to go ad-supported, make it free. You'll get a lot of subscribers. Of course, there's some third-party IP issues, so maybe you can give maybe you can make your original stuff free and ad supported, and all that licensed stuff you can put that behind paywall. And when people subscribe, they'll get the exact same original content ad free, and they'll get exclusive licensed third party content as well. And I think some of the competition will go away, and which I'll discuss now. And maybe it that competition will grow, and market will consolidate, and maybe Netflix will become more and more justifiable as a monthly paying subscription. That's not it for now. We'll see, I don't know. So next one is CNN Plus. It's shutting down only after a month. They launched for like $6 a month. Now here's the thing about CNN Plus. CNN is a huge brand for international news around the world. It's CNN, BBC, and to lesser extent Al Jazeera and all the others. And ABC is also there. But CNN and BBC are the big ones. So it was surprising to see that they launched this streaming service for $6 a month, and they shut it down within 3 weeks. And the initial expenditure for that was $250 million. So you spent $250 million and you burnt it out within 3 weeks, and the service was shut down in just 3 weeks. It's just, they had less than 10,000 subscribers. Imagine burning $250 million to get less than 10,000 subscribers. So Joe Rogan's Spotify deal is estimated to be around $200 million, and on average Joe Rogan gets 11 million listeners per episode on average. 11 million for $200 million, 11 million people. And compare that to established brand like CNN getting 10,000 people to subscribe, a 250 million budget. That is, yeah. So CNN, I found out, it was owned by Warner Brothers. And why not just put that on HBO Max, right? For no additional cost, and make HBO Max even more competitive. Why launch a separate streaming service? So here's another thing that these streaming services lack over traditional cable companies. It's news and it's sports. This CNN Plus on HBO Max could have given them lot bigger advantage. If you have HBO Max, you can watch CNN ad free and whatever. They should have done that, but they have not. But instead, they decide to launch a separate streaming service, which fails within just 3 weeks. Just weird. Next one, Spotify and Obamas are departing. This is from 9 to 5 Mac. Obama and both of the Obamas had a partnership with Spotify. I didn't know that Barack Obama had a podcast for a long time. And most people, they probably still don't know that Obama had a podcast. So there are rumors that Obama left Spotify, and because they wanted to be more approachable, so they wanted not just be exclusive to Spotify but on other podcasting apps as well. And the report also points out that there are some disagreements between Obama's company and podcast platforms when it comes to content to be produced. Obamas are each willing to appear in an 8 episode program, which for some bidders isn't enough of a commitment to justify a deal comparable to those for shows like Smartless, Call Her Daddy, and My Favorite Murder. Those shows appear weekly or with a frequency too close to that, while Higher Ground, that is Obama's company, Higher Ground's programs featuring the Obamas have been limited series. Apple has been slowly investing in exclusive podcasts to compete with Spotify and other platforms. The company has also introduced a new podcast subscription program so that creators can charge for their shows. A partnership with Obama's would certainly be a huge opportunity to attract even more users to Apple Podcasts. So this was surprising. And a lot of people, when it comes to CNN Plus, when it comes to Netflix, when it comes to Obama's, they're making this point that woke stuff doesn't work. And I don't like woke stuff, full disclosure. And I kind of have to agree. I'm subscribing to these companies. I'm subscribing to content to get entertained, to get informed, not to get lectured. So all this lecturing stuff is, yeah, that's probably not going to work. So Obama's supposed to be more popular than Joe Rogan. He is more popular than Joe Rogan. But Joe Rogan is still on Spotify. Obama's are not. Do you know how wild that is? That just compare Twitter followers of Joe Rogan and Barack Obama. Barack Obama is higher, much higher than Joe Rogan. Obama has had something like 131 million Twitter followers, whereas Joe Rogan is, let's check this out, 8.5 million. So about 120 million more Twitter followers that Obama's or Barack Obama rather have compared to Joe Rogan. But Joe Rogan's Spotify show is most likely more popular than Barack Obama's. Why is that? Is it marketing? Maybe that's what that is. And Obama is a very charismatic person. He's very charismatic. Like, you can listen to his speeches, but there's some point that there's a difference between listening to few speeches and having consistent entertainment. Joe Rogan is more likely to be a consistent form of entertainment than Obama's. Obama's a politician. Of course, he's going to speak like a politician. He's a lot more charismatic than other politicians, but he's still a politician. That's not going to be that entertaining. He could have been a lot more relatable, but I think there's some of that. So Netflix had this programming. Elon Musk called them out. So Netflix had come up with this new show called, what was it? Something about man being pregnant. Let's see that. So Elon Musk called it woke mind virus. That's what Elon Musk called it. And the show was something like he's expecting. There was also another show called Cuties, which was about 11-year-old girl as she discovers her maturing self, all while looking for acceptance in her religious family. Yeah, no. Don't mess with the kid stuff. He's expecting a Netflix show about a Japanese dramedy about a man who gets pregnant. The man is, of course, a transgender person who was born a woman and now transitioned to a man. So there is, Elon Musk called him out, and let me get that tweet. The woke mind virus is making Netflix unwatchable. Yup. That's the running theme in Netflix, in CNN Plus, and the Obama Spotify deal. The woke stuff. If you want to influence people's morals, make sure you do it in a way that is highly, highly entertaining. It shouldn't be like morals first. It should be entertainment first and maybe a little bit of morals. So all these superhero movies, so they're like be good, be good, be heroic, be courageous. All the typical superhero messaging, the moral messaging stuff. It sells well, the superhero comics, because they're entertaining first and moral later. And maybe that's what is going on. But I don't know. Maybe it could be inflation and people are reconsidering their subscriptions and how many subscriptions they have. Maybe it could be that people are tired of streaming services after spending almost 2 years in their homes. Now they want to go out, they want to enjoy, they don't want to watch TV shows just like they did for like 2 years. They want to explore the world. Maybe that's what that is. I don't know. But what do you think? What's happening with these streaming services? Well, that's it for today. And thank you so much for tuning in.